If you think silence in a boardroom means peace, you've never been in one right before a deal changes everything in a single breath. The kind of silence that sits heavy, sharp, and expensive, where every second feels like a decision nobody is brave enough to speak out loud. In the center of that silence stood Maya Carter, a 28-year-old black server working at one of Manhattan's most exclusive private investor venues, holding a polished silver tray with 2 untouched glasses of water, her posture steady but invisible to everyone who believed she was supposed to be invisible. Across the marble table sat Richard Coleman, a high-profile investor known for closing deals worth tens of millions of dollars before lunch, a man who didn't raise his voice because he never had to, and beside him sat Jonathan Pierce, his personal lawyer, a man who had spent 15 years learning how to make words sound like law even when they were wrong. Richard leaned back in his chair, eyes cold and detached, as if the room itself was beneath his attention. Then, without even looking at her directly, he said, "Cancel the deal. I don't want her in this room." The words weren't loud, but they carried the weight of finality, slicing through the air like a sealed verdict, and instantly every executive around the table shifted their gaze toward Maya, as if she had suddenly become part of a mistake they needed to correct. Jonathan gave a short, dismissive smile and added, "People like you don't understand contracts like this. You should step out before you embarrass yourself further." A few quiet chuckles followed, the kind that don't need permission because they feed on hierarchy. But Maya didn't react. She simply lowered her eyes for a brief moment, not in defeat, but in calculation, because what no one in that room knew was that Maya Carter wasn't just a server by circumstance alone. She had once been a pre-law student at NYU before dropping out when her mother's medical bills became impossible to ignore, and while she served tables at night, she had spent years quietly, reading legal journals and public libraries during breaks, not to impress anyone, but because understanding the system felt like the only way to survive it. Richard tapped the contract once with his pen, signaling impatience, while Jonathan flipped through the pages like he already owned the outcome, unaware that Maya had overheard their entire conversation about liability clauses just minutes earlier while refilling water glasses near the conference corner, and one specific clause had caught her attention like a fracture in glass, hidden in language so carefully written it was meant to be ignored by anyone who wasn't trained to see danger in fine print. Slowly, Maya stepped forward, placing the tray down with controlled precision, and the soft sound of glass meeting marble made more heads turn than her presence ever did. Then she spoke, calm and measured. "If you proceed with this agreement, Section 9 transfers full liability exposure to your holding entity, not the partner group." A brief pause followed, the kind of pause where people don't immediately understand what they just heard. Then Jonathan exhaled sharply and laughed under his breath, shaking his head as if she had spoken in a language